Empire podcast. We finally were able to get all three of our wonderful hosts here today, Lucas and Luke. I'm here, Iron Mike. We're here to take your questions if you have any today and to work out with you guys. And let's talk about a little bit about what happened in the last game. Do we still blame Jimmy? How do we look moving forward against the Los Angeles Rams? Why don't we start off with you, Ortiz? How do you feel about, because you and I haven't really gotten to talk about it. How do you feel about Jimmy's performance the last game? We won't spend too much time, but we'll talk a little bit because I haven't heard your opinion yet.
Yeah, I'll be brief. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was probably the worst performance I've ever seen from Jimmy. Throws were obviously really off. He seemed to have no timing with the receivers whatsoever. And I understand he hasn't really had a whole lot of practice time, especially being the starting quarterback. What little practice time he did have at the start of the season was replicating what the opposing team's quarterback was going to do. So he hasn't really run a lot of our own plays, and it showed. He was at times terrible. At times he had a couple good throws. There was a nice play with Juszczyk and Brandon Ayuk and even Debo, although you could make a case that he underthrew Debo and it would have been a touchdown pass. But it didn't look good. I mean, he's going to improve. He's going to be better. Right now, everybody wants to push him off a cliff and watch him die a slow death, but I have some reasons, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, about why he looks so bad and who could have helped make him look a little bit better against the Broncos. What about you guys? What do you think about Jimmy's performance?
Luke?
God awful. I mean, so here's the thing. 1 for 3, or was it 1 out of 13 on third down is not going to win any football games.
Right.
I mean, a Pop Warner team could have beat you if you're not going to convert on third downs. And you only convert once in a football game. And here's the thing, the kicker that really kind of hurts is that I heard a report on the radio on KMBR the day before the game that Jimmy had this incredible week of practice.
We've been hearing that for 4 years, buddy.
No, but I mean, they only said that because, like, he wasn't in training camp and blah blah blah, and he did so well in that last game. So someone just rolled with that stat or that fact, and I was thinking, like, yeah, maybe he shouldn't practice then.
Yeah, maybe he should have shitty practices.
Yeah, and you know what also was creepy was how many Niners were on the Denver secondary that were making plays and stuff. We got K'Wan Williams. I'm like, no, he's our guy. What's going on? There's another guy.
DJ Williams made a play.
Yeah. Oh,
man. DJ Williams, he had a nice, I think it was a tipped ball. Yeah. Probably would have been a first down. And he's the person responsible for injuring Trent Williams. It was his leg or his body that rolled in the back of Trent's leg. And Trent's going to be out for probably at least a month now because of DJ Williams.
That hurts more than anything else. Anything that came out of that game that hurts more than anything else is that Williams is hurt. Because, we are in the boat we're in with Garoppolo. We've all talked about it. It is what it is. He's there, and he's at least serviceable quarterback that gets us to championship games sometimes and does pretty well when he can. And sometimes, he has bad Jimmy, good Jimmy, right, Mike?
His goofiness, as Brent Jones called it on the radio show yesterday, his goofiness does get us in trouble. Did you guys see how Brent Jones just ripped on him?
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with him.
Yep.
I'm glad Steve Young's ripping on him. Brent Jones ripping on him. It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
He underthrew receivers. He overthrew receivers. He missed a wide open Debo one time in the first quarter. He underthrew Debo one time in the second quarter. As I told Lucas the other day, Ortiz, man, we would be up 21-0 at the half if Jimmy makes 2 more completions in the first half, and they were the easy kind. They were the easy kind, and that's why I refuse to accept it. I refuse to think that Denver's a better team than us at this moment because I really didn't see it. They stacked the box on us the second half because they were not.
But teams always do. Teams always play us for the run. We've never been a team that just opens it up and pass like a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
That's why it's too bad that Trey got hurt.
Teams always play the run against us because we are a running team.
Yeah,
we did it in the NFC Championship game when Raheem Mostert ran for 200 fucking yards. So teams will stack the box. If we block it correctly, we can still run the ball. It doesn't matter if they know the play's coming or not. When our team is running plays the way that we should be, and the offensive line is blocking the way they have in the past, we will still be successful no matter if the team knows the run is coming or not. So that's not the issue. The offensive line played terrible. And we're going to go into much more detail later. But before we write Jimmy off, guys, let me just remind you, we've seen this show before. We've seen this movie play out before. Jimmy has had horrendous starts to seasons and wind up taking us to a Super Bowl, wind up taking us to an NFC Championship game. And we can't just say, all right, it was a terrible game. This is how the season is going to play out. Let's fire the coach. Let's fire the quarterback. Let's start fresh. No, like, there's a lot of games to be played. There's a lot of football to be played. Teams get gradually better as the season goes on. Offensive lines get better as the season goes on. There's a lot of really good teams right now that are playing shitty football. The Packers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Chiefs. They didn't score over 15 points this last week. So why is it that we're ready to write our team off this early in the season? It's game 3, boys. Like, take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. We've seen, like I said, we've seen this show before. It's going to play out a lot differently as the season goes on. Jimmy's going to be better. He's not going to be any worse than he was. That was probably the worst game he's ever played, will ever play. So, you know, let's be a little more optimistic. We can still be critical, but we don't have to, you know, literally tear the guy apart and bury him in the ground. Like, let's have a little bit of faith, because we've been successful with Jimmy, albeit with a really good defense and a really good run game. But, you know, he was the quarterback when we got to those games, when we were successful in the postseason.
Yeah. Well, I ripped him up already. I ripped his head off my bobbleheads.
I know you have. Especially gone on my book. That, him not being aware of where he is in the end zone. That's not really something, you know, come on. He needs to learn how to throw the ball away better, and they need to work on that. I'm sure they are. There's a few times where he just could have thrown the ball away, and he needs to watch some old footage of Steve Young, because he was like the best at that. And Jimmy, that's one of his flaws. He's always been bad at like knowing how to throw the ball away and when to throw it away to get away. And he's a veteran. He needs to know how to do that. I'm sure they're working on that. But you're right. I'm glad that you said that, Lucas, because right now, you know, look, we're looking forward towards the Rams, guys. So the Rams aren't looking that great either, right? So, but we're playing them. And what do you see with the Rams this week? And by the way, we're streaming live breakfast time on YouTube right now, and there's going to be a raw version of that on YouTube after this, and eventually we're going to kind of try to get that tightened up a little bit, do a little bit of editing, and throw an intro on it and whatever. But just so our viewers know that there's going to be kind of a raw version. This is the Stick Niner Empire podcast. And so what do you guys think about this matchup against the Rams? Because Debo usually has a good game against the Rams.
Yeah, let me start off by saying I'm a little worried with the offensive line. Obviously, we're not going to have Trent Williams, so we're going in with most likely Colton McKivitz, who came in after 3 or 4 horrendous plays by Jalen Moore as the backup tackle. It looked like he made a lot of not just physical mistakes, like there was mental breakdowns where he let just, you know, guys get right into Jimmy's face without even being touched. And they immediately went to Colton McKivitz. He looked a little bit more formidable. Hopefully he'll be able to play on his I think he has like a bit of an ankle injury. And Mike McGlinchey he stunk. I mean, he was as good as I thought he played the week before against the Seahawks. I think he was equally as bad against the Broncos. He just looked stiffed out there. He missed a lot of blocks. There was a lot of pressure in Jimmy's face. And I think that contributed to how bad and how poorly Jimmy was throwing the ball. Even at times when guys were open, he was throwing with the guy in his face and was getting hit. So
when it rains, it pours.
You can't put all the blame on Jimmy. The offensive line didn't help him out. There was a lot of free runners out there. Guys were getting beat quick. McGlinchey was just a big pile of shit that game. And I think the young players actually played decent at times, but even they were missing some blocks here and there and getting pushed back into the pocket. So a little bit worried there. I think with Aaron Donald being moved around, they're going to kind of look for the weak spots on the offensive line. And right now, the tackles are it. So look for Aaron Donald to maybe line up on some obvious passing downs at the end, or, you know, stand up at the end of the line of scrimmage. I'm trying to think of some of the other pass rushers on the Rams, and I can't really think of anybody that's super dangerous or talented, but, you know, they're a good team. They have a really good defense despite all the losses on that side of the ball. And, you know, we do have their number, but the Rams are still a scary team. They still have one of the best pass catching tandems in Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford. So like they're a scary team. They could put up a lot of points easily on us if we're not careful.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think just to finish off the thing with the Denver Broncos game and how placing the blame
back to Denver.
Just real quick, like game, I think it's really important to note. Mike Orengo and I talked about it. At the last drive of the game, even after Jimmy screwed up everything, and then they still had another chance, right, to just kick a field goal and win. They lost by 1 point, fellas.
We got Robbie Gould. You know he's going to make. He's like 6 for 6, 7 for 7.
That play on to make Wilson fumble was an amazing defensive effort, right? I mean, on Denver's part. So I mean, that wasn't on Jimmy. Punch. They could have driven down and still won the game. So, couple losses that could have been wins here so far in the season. So,
Robbie
and how many times did it look?
I'm sorry, Robbie Gould's either 6 for 6 or 7 for 7 from 50 yarders over the last 2 years. Yeah. If you don't throw that in triple coverage, just get us near the 50. We'll win that game.
And how many times did we have a near turnover where a guy fumbled the ball and Russell Wilson jumps on top of it, or a ball gets tipped up in the air and there's nobody around. It seems like the ball is just lingering in the air for 5 minutes and no 49er is able to get underneath and intercept the pass. So there was a lot of these near turnovers that could have definitely shifted the game and given us the edge, but they ultimately got all the bounces and they got the turnovers, and we were left in the dust. We were zero turnovers to their 3. I think they got 3 turnovers from us, and we weren't able to get that big break. So sometimes it just happens, sometimes the ball bounces your way. Sometimes it doesn't. You can't make excuses. It happened, but it's a long season. Like the ball will eventually bounce our way, and we're gonna take advantage of those situations, but it just wasn't to be this last game.
You can't win with no offense, and we had a lot of sacks in that game. The defense looked pretty good, man. I mean, our defense is going to win games for us this year, and I think right now they're thinking, how can we score some points?
So. Absolutely.
Defense is giving up, I think it's 8.3 points a game right now, because they've only given up about 28 points between the 3 games put together.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. I think I texted you guys. That was probably the worst performance I've ever seen Russell Wilson play himself.
He was being booed
Jimmy
by
has
the
some
crowd.
Company, and he still won. He just he has our number.
Because he ran on third down
record.
Conversions. That's why. He was able to get that first down every time he needed it on third down. He is who he is. He's still a great player.
There was a big play. Right. There was that big play where he eluded the rush. I think Kinlaw had him in his grasp. He got away. He threw a throw to his left that was like a 15, 20-yard play on a big third down in the fourth quarter that extended the drive. So, he can play terrible the majority of the game, 3 quarters of just shit ball, and then come through 1 or 2 drives at the end of the game to win.
He's been an eternal 49er dagger. So
yeah, he's our kryptonite for sure. He is our kryptonite.
Going back, Ortiz, to what you were talking about, the fact that they're probably going to reassign, Aaron Donald here and there. Normally, I think 3 out of the last 4 games, we have a tendency to actually run toward him, which is interesting. But we run toward him generally because we got Trent Williams. We usually got a healthy Kittle, which he's back to playing again. So I think one thing you're going to see here, you're going to see Trent Williams blocking a whole lot. I don't expect him to catch anything, probably. I mean, not Trent Williams. I'm sorry, Kittle. I don't expect Kittle to be much part of the passing game at all. Juszczyk's going to have to stay in there and block pretty much on just every other down, I think. They're going to have to do something to bring in extra blockers. And I don't think we're going to run toward Aaron Donald the way we normally do. I don't expect that at all.
So I like that you bring up Kittle because I think we're using him entirely way too much as a blocker. I know he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the game, but I want to see him more lined up in dangerous positions, like out at the end of the line of scrimmage, in a stand-up position, more like a wide receiver, similar to what Travis Kelce's used in Kansas City. So I don't know. I think we need to kind of mix it up a little bit more and not just have George Kittle used as an inline blocker and a third tackle. I want to see him, scheme up some plays for him. I want to, see a touchdown like the one to Ross Dwelley where he's completely wide open with nobody around him.
Yeah.
And, utilize his athleticism. He's one of the most athletic tight ends in the game right now. He's got great hands. He's amazing after the catch. Why not use those things instead of using him as a blocker? We have Charlie Warner if you want to, if you want to bring in a tight end to help with the run game or help out a tackle at the end of the line of scrimmage. Like, I want to see Kittle out
underutilized.
running routes.
I'll agree.
Very underutilized.
I'll agree with everything you've always said. I think he's been underutilized over the last few years. I just think the problem is getting him off that line blocking. I mean, if our O-line is if our O-line is doing well, then I think we could use him a lot more. If our O-line's not doing well, I think he's kind of stuck there a bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he's
put him in the slot.
I mean,
put him in the slot because you know what? If you pass it pretty quickly to 3-step drops or whatnot, you're gonna limit the amount of sacks that the quarterback is gonna take. Aaron Donald is not gonna get to the quarterback if he releases it in less than 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So 3-step drops, get him in the shotgun. I think Jimmy does a little bit better in the shotgun because he can kind of see the pass rush a little bit better.
Yeah.
And utilize Kittle the way he should be. He's if not the top paid tight end in the league.
The Niners do really well when Kittle has big games,
he needs to be used as such, right?
And it will take pressure off of Debo. I mean, it'll make Debo have more open, plays when Debo's still getting open, but like he'll get open all the time if they keep Kittle involved, because then they have to worry about him over the middle. Those plays over the middle where he catches it and runs for 25 yards. Like they got to get back into that somehow and get that back into the. We all know that, especially without Williams, they're going to need him to block a lot. But you got to utilize his strengths, man, and use him to your advantage so you can win games. Because Kittle will also get you points, if you use him the right way. So.
And not just Kittle. What happened to breakout Brandon Ayuk? Right, you heard about this guy in the offseason, how he had this tremendous offseason. He was one of the best guys in camp. Nobody could guard him. He was always getting open. He was the talk of camp, and then he gets into the starting season and he barely gets any balls thrown his way. So is it his fault? Is he not getting open? Is he not running routes correctly?
Well. Yeah, the guy's
or the quarterback's
talented.
Just not seeing him. Yeah,
force
him the ball. Yeah, let him use he's an athletic guy. He can jump. He's got long arms. He's got tremendous wingspan. Let's see him, make some plays and just throw it up. Do some 50-50 balls when he has one-on-one coverage on the outside. I think he's just like Kittle. They're not giving him the opportunity. I want to see more opportunity.
I don't know about that 50-50 ball with Jimmy Garoppolo throwing that thing, man.
Well,
he throws a 50-50 ball every play.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it with 2 defenders or 3. I want to see it when there's 1.
He's out there playing 3 flies up, right?
There's a big difference.
2 guys on the left, 1 on the right. I'm going over to this guy.
When it's a cornerback on an island going up with the receiver, because he's probably going to panic. He's going to grab. He's going to pass interfere, or he's going to let that guy catch the ball. So when there's 2 guys, it's a much different scenario. They have the advantage. One guy can kind of go for the ball, and the other guy can just kind of hang on the receiver without really interfering with him. So that's what we have to avoid. And I think that's what, Jimmy's ultimate Achilles heel has been, is just like not seeing that second defender, not seeing the third defender.
Yeah.
Hey, I was about to say the guy was double coverage, but he had a third defender coming across. Like it was in zone or something like.
But here's the thing, you guys, this all is reminding me of something I think we touched on last year. And that is that you've got some weapons, but the Niners never have a game where they all do well. It's all like either like Debo has a huge game or Kittle has a huge game. When's the game where Ayuk, Kittle, and they distribute it evenly and they all have big games?
That's the game where we have a real quarterback.
No, even when Trey was in. Okay, so that part is what it is, right? We already know what Jimmy can do and what he can't do. He does end up getting the ball out. I think a lot of it's on the offensive coordinator. Like you're not utilizing all your weapons. Like
you mean Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
he's offense coordinator, right?
Yeah.
We don't technically have an offensive coordinator.
So it's on the coach. You need to utilize all your weapons, not just go to one all game. Like take some of the pressure off of Debo and hit Kittle. Make them all have big games. I want to see all of them have 100+ yards and a touchdown. All 3 of them in one game. Like I don't think we ever see that.
I can't recall the last time either. Those are great points, man. I can't recall the last time either. I mean, I'm at a blank thinking about it.
And maybe there needs to be less game plan and more just giving the quarterback a little more free reign to kind of like, all right, this is what the defense is showing. Let me like call some plays here.
Yeah.
Like this is a play that I feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
Let me go with this. I think when Jimmy doesn't have a game plan, the Seattle game where he just had to come in and do his thing, he was just a lot more relaxed. He looked a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. Coaches hate that when the players draw plays in the dirt, just like they refer to it. I love that. Right. Like,
yeah.
There's a great thing where it was against the Niners. Green Bay Packers playing the Niners in a playoff game, and Brett Favre wants to score a touchdown on this play, and Holmgren tells him what to do, and he's very strict about it. He goes in the huddle and he goes, "All right, guys, Holmgren wants us to do this, but we're going to do this." And he does it differently, but they score a touchdown. And when they score, Holmgren's like, he won't celebrate. He's pissed. He's pissed, even though they scored a touchdown. And Brett Favre's like, "I got you, right? That's what we wanted to do, really." And he's like, "You don't draw up plays in the dirt, boy." It's like, it's funny. Like, that's kind of the same thing. Like, they want to control everything, but really, sometimes you have to let the players feel the game and say, all right, they're getting you on every time. He wants to do this again, but instead, I'm going to go short to use check or whatever they do, right? So,
and what we know about Kyle, he is the ultimate control freak, right?
Yep.
Go ahead, Mike.
Totally.
There was one play that I'm not blaming this all on our coach. I do think he does need to open up the offense more. I agree with both of you on this. But there was one play that I couldn't stand where it was going. A check down to Debo is not something I want to see, and he almost got injured on that play. I'd rather have Jimmy throw away the football because I could see that Debo was going to get smashed. We threw him a 5-yard check down right in front of the O-line. I don't know if that was meant to be a screen. It seemed like it was a check down because he waited a while. Yeah, the offensive linesmen weren't moving, so it was just a check down. A check down to Debo. I understand he's like a god at yak yards. I didn't want to see that. I was screaming at that because I already knew where it was going. I was like, please throw it out of bounds. Don't throw it, get Debo. I already saw that injury happening. Thankfully, he ended up being okay.
Yeah, so Jimmy, he has a real knack for not being able to get rid of the football right before a sack. Like, I feel like there's times where there's just nothing there, and he needs to just get outside of the tackle, throw the ball to the sideline, get rid of it, live to play another day. He takes way too many sacks. If the play is not there,
he's going to get a turnover, so he takes a 12-yard loss. Dude, don't do that.
Right.
Get rid of the ball.
Throw it at a guy's feet.
I'd have a grounding call, honestly.
Yeah, if it's not open, throw it at the guy's feet.
Yeah.
You know, you don't take the sack.
Don't get your receiver killed. He did it with Kittle last year, too. He almost got him killed on a play.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any of that.
Don't throw the
Don't lead your receiver to a defender, anything like that.
Right. You know, as bad as
guys around Debo. There were 2 guys and a third guy stepping up safety, running through. Like you're gonna get Debo killed out there like that. That's your biggest weapon.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about this, but as bad as the play was, where you took the safety and didn't realize he was in the back of the end zone, it could have been so much worse. That was actually the lesser
cheering for the safety.
The results that could have happened. He threw a pick six.
Cheering for the safety.
The only reason it wasn't a pick six is because there was a safety first. So this is, we're picking at hairs, but
we talked about it on the last show. I forgot what the number is, but Jimmy in his career is dreadful when he's in the end zone. I think he's only gotten it out in the last 3 years, like twice out of his own end zone. He doesn't. It always ends in a punt, an interception. And now I want you to think about that stat. I got that from a statistician buddy of mine up in Turner Network.
That could be partly on Shanahan, man.
Matt,
if you know the quarterback has strengths and weaknesses, and you're calling plays to get him out of the end zone, you need to have like
he never gets out.
Couple of sneaks to get a little running or a little room.
The same way Jimmy is the god of the QB sneak right now. Remember last year talking, he was like 26 out of 26. The same way he's so great at that, he is dreadful. Jimmy is dreadful when you pin him in his end zone. He always looks lost. He doesn't complete anything. It almost always finishes in a punt. Almost always. And then there's no room to punt the ball. No, it is. It's a fact. And then
Joe Montana was good at it. I remember
Joe
that
Montana could jump,
when Joe started his own end zone, he just roll his eyes and go, no problem. Roger Craig, just take this ball and take it over there. Okay, now we got it.
It hasn't worked out that way. I think Shanahan does get very conservative in the end zone also. I have noticed that. Shanahan gets a little conservative in the end zone. Because he knows Jimmy.
Yeah, but he also he tries to get the ball to Debo in some weird spot, that's not obvious at all.
You don't want to throw a pick from your own net. The last thing you want to do is throw a pick from your own end zone.
Yeah.
That's why I say he just doesn't trust Jimmy, so we'll usually run it once or twice or throw a short pass, but you don't see him taking a shot ever out of the end zone. Think about that.
Yeah.
That guy could be open 35 yards.
So guys, let's get a little more into like the game coming up and like
Yeah.
what we need to do to win, what you want to see the 49ers change. And I don't know. Give me some scores. Let's get some
Yeah, let's
predictions.
do it.
I'm not feeling good about this one. I can't lie.
Uh-oh.
And I think it's mostly because Trent Williams isn't there. I think Jimmy will play a little better. He can't play worse, so he's gonna play better. It's for us to win this game, it has to be a low-scoring game, and our defense, which is absolutely incredible. We haven't even talked about how great the defense is. Hopefully, we will after this weekend. They got to win the game for us. I hate to say this because I never say this. The defense has to give us points. Seriously.
They might have to. They might have
The
to.
defense has to give us points because I don't see. I think Aaron Donald's going to have a huge game. It's going to be very disruptive. I think we're in for a rude awakening this week. I think it's going to get a little better, a little worse before it gets better, unfortunately, because that O-line needs to improve. So it's got to get a little worse. Hopefully not too much worse.
I look
So
for
you have
one
us
of the-
losing.
Go
So
ahead.
you have us losing this game.
I
on
would
record.
never in my life bet against my own team. So I'm not betting money this week. But from a verbal standpoint, I can't say anything. I can't
don't
lie
know.
to myself.
So what do you got?
I
Is
see
it a
this
close
being a
game?
long-
Is it a blowout? Like how
I
do you
don't
see
want
it
to
being
say
played out?
that. I don't want to say that, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, he loves.
I just don't wanna
he's like
say
a
that.
politician with his predictions.
Yeah, I'm
He
very.
starts skirting
I
around
play
it
both
because
sides
he
of the
doesn't think
fence.
we're gonna win.
I play both
So,
sides of the fence, baby.
Don't forget last season. What happened last season when everybody was ready to write off the 49ers? Who
It's
did
too
we
soon.
play and what was the outcome?
Hey, there was that one game that
Rams.
Jimmy, helped bring us back by 15 points, was it, or something? Remember that we were losing against the Rams, the second game that we played last year. So that was one of his best games ever.
I think playing the Rams is the best remedy.
Yep. They played well against the Rams. I'm going to say that some of these younger guys on the line that Lucas was talking about, a couple of them are going to step up and you won't even know they're there because they're doing so well. And that's what we need, right? No penalties, and a better Jimmy. I think with the Rams, it'll bring a better Jimmy out on the field and you'll notice a difference. And I think Kittle is going to have a big offensive game. So I think we're going to actually win this game. I think this final score is going to be 28-14 Niners.
Okay. So I think the offensive line is going to have a pretty tremendous week of practice. I think Chris Forster, the offensive line coach, is really going to get into these guys and show them like just how god awful they were this last game. I think a lot of them have pride. I think a lot of them are going to improve on their pass blocking, which was some of the worst pass blocking I've seen in a long time. And I think we're going to do well against the Rams. For some reason, we block Aaron Donald very well. He's had one or two really good games against us, but for the most part, over the last 8 seasons, he hasn't done that great. He hasn't had a ton of success against our offensive line.
Yeah,
I think we bring in our secret weapon, possibly Daniel Brunskill.
nice.
I don't know if he's healthy or not, but if he is, I would love to
Nice.
see him go against Aaron Donald because that is Aaron Donald's kryptonite. He's never played well against him. I think Kittle's gonna kind of finally show us like what type of player he is. I don't think we've really seen the full Kittle yet. I think he was maybe not in the best shape yet because he hasn't had that preseason to get in game his game legs, so to speak. And I don't know. I think our defense is going to score a touchdown. I want to see a guy like
Hope
Hufanga
so.
get a little pick six, get a
Hufanga, awesome.
fumble
Gotta
recovery
love
for a
him, yeah.
touchdown. He's been all over the place. The guy's been tremendous. I think he's one of the best young defensive players in the league right now. And I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think we're going to win something like 20-16. It's going to be a defensive touchdown and maybe one or two Jimmy plays to get us some points on the board.
Hey, does this make sense, you guys? That's a good prediction. Hey, I heard someone talking about Hufanga and they said like he's not fast, right? And I'm thinking like he's quick.
He plays fast.
He's quick, right? Like he gets to the ball fast. It doesn't matter if he was
reacts quickly. Great
running
instincts.
the track the day before fast. He's quick on the field when it's happening. It seems like, especially this year, man, he's on fire. So it's good.
Yeah, one of the best young players on the team without a shadow of a doubt. He was one of my favorite picks that year as well. He was my favorite pick. And correct me if I'm wrong, Trey Sermon was on the same draft, wasn't he?
Oh Jesus!
That was my worst favorite. That was my worst pick. I hated that Sermon pick. Loved the Hufanga pick.
We've got a few more awards now too. I think that the Rams haven't seen our defense like this, right? And we already.
Travarius Ward looks incredible. Travarius Ward looks incredible.
Yeah,
he has been sharp every single game.
The
He's
secondary
not giving up
looks
passes.
great, man.
Secondary,
yeah, he's been worth every dollar. That guy's been
absolutely.
He's been the cornerback we've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah,
it seemed like we had like 5 or 6 sacks in that last game too. Like our defensive line is not all Bosa. Like all these guys are getting in their Givens. So, you know, maybe the Rams are gonna be. They have not looked very good, you guys. So they may be at the top of this shitty division, but
Stafford hasn't looked that sharp thus far. I think his arm is bothering him. Stafford has not looked that sharp. You know what? We got to put massive amounts of pressure on Stafford. Make Stafford make some mistakes. Let him throw the pick. Let's sack him. Let's try and pin him on his own end zone. You know, Stafford's a tough guy. You know, if he gets hurt, he still likes to play. He can still perform sometimes when he's hurt. You've seen him do it before. Got to keep the pressure. I think that's the key to winning. Just pressure on Stafford all day, relentless. Don't let him get anything started. Make his life absolutely miserable. If we can do that, I think we have a chance. We still got to score something at some point. If we can do that, we'll have a chance. I think Cal will open it up this week. So you know what? All right. I'm not going to predict the blowout that I wanted to do.
Hey, I'm thinking a little different. Prime time and then we're at home, right? I mean, that's also huge factor.
I like the word Ortiz uses. Ortiz always says, "I'm a homer. I'll never bet against my team." All right, let's do it. If the Niners win, so I'll put it this way: if the Niners win, I'm gonna say it's something like 20-16, something like that. You know,
nice. 20. So my score.
Yeah.
So you're stealing my score.
Yeah, it sounds accurate. It sounds accurate.
Yeah, it sounds good.
I'm gonna go with Ortiz on this one. I'm betting on Ortiz.
That's how I work. Plant the seed.
But it has to be like that. I do think our defense has to be above exceptional this week, which they have been.
Yeah.
I mean, you give up when you're giving up 8 points a game, and you can't win a game, and you're giving up 8.3, 8.5 points a game.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous, man. That's on the offense. Offense got to play better. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and you know we kind of take him for granted, but Nick Bosa is having a tremendous season. Like that guy, fabulous. When he's not getting double teamed, he's getting in the quarterback space. Even when he does get double teamed, he's still getting in the quarterback space. And I think he's either tied or in second for sacks. Most sacks in the league. I think he has 4.
And he usually leads the league in being held.
Yeah,
sadly enough.
Always.
And if we see bad Jimmy in the first half, I hear that they're going to put Bosa in at quarterback. So no,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, Juice checks the emergency guy. Juice checks the emergency guy.
You know? Juice going in there.
Yeah.
But maybe it's time. Maybe it's time we make someone not so irrelevant too. You know, I don't know. Maybe Purdy doesn't have to be that irrelevant. Now, I really don't want to see Purdy out there though, because honestly,
we're gonna do just fine, guys.
I like Purdy as a backup, but that's about it. I mean, when he throws the ball, it feels like it never comes down. Have you noticed that? Purdy throws it doesn't come down; it just floats.
Floats in the hunting
keeps on
season.
going. Deion Sanders would have had a field day with this guy.
Yeah, his name sounds made up, right? It's kind of like a porn star name, Brock Purdy. It's like, you know, some 1980s porn film starring Brock Purdy.
Sounds like he's from Boogie Nights.
Linda Lovelace and Brock Purdy.
Hey, you guys, great to see us all on the same podcast again, and we'll have to keep this going. We're going to do breakfast again after that next game. We'll arrange this, and great to see you guys, and thanks for tuning in to the Stick Niner Empire podcast. Arango.
Guys, subscribe. Like the show, want to keep watching it, subscribe. That way you get updates and you know when we're actually live. Good things like that. Yep. And we will be having some giveaways this year, won't we? If I'm correct.
Yeah.
We gave away a few jerseys on my show last year. We had a Kinlaw jersey giveaway. We had a Nick Bosa jersey giveaway. I think we got some memorabilia here lying around that we get from a sponsor too.
Steve Young football that we're going to be auctioning off to the. We're going to have some questions that people are going to have to answer to get it, and it might be a few weeks of that, or maybe we'll do that towards the end. But I got a sign. I'll bring it on so people can see the signed Steve Young football. It's in a case.
I'm a football helmet collector. I collect mini helmets. I actually have a few doubles. As a matter of fact, I have two. I have two right here. Give me a second.
While Mike steps away from the stand, we have time for a short break.
Hey, Mike, I'm glad you're wearing shorts or bottoms.
Oh
know
man,
that's
that
not a
would have
normal
been
thing for you.
bad,
Here we
right?
go.
That would have been bad. Yeah.
That would've been
we could
horrible.
I almost feel like
Edit
giving him away as a
that
pair,
out
but we
live.
got a Dwight Clark. May he rest in peace. Right up
Nice.
there.
Sweet.
And Steve Young's right
R.I.P.
down here.
That's
Nice.
I don't know
awesome.
how well you can see that, but
Yeah, we can see it.
maybe we could put some
Nice,
pictures
Steve.
of this up online and
Yeah,
let's make some sort of contest because I got doubles of each.
nice, dude. That's great. All right, you guys have a good week. Go Niners, and
Go Niners.
let's do this.
We'll
Time.
We'll see you. We'll see you Tuesday or Wednesday, one or the other.
Go
Sounds
Niners.
good.
Have a
All
great
right.
night, guys. Be safe.
Thanks.
All right, guys.
Later,
Take
guys.
care.
All right.